Welcome to a brand new episode of YouTube Boxing Season. I'm your host, Fight Lounge. And before I go any further, I highly suggest you guys follow me on social media. You can type in Fight Lounge on IG, Twitter, and YouTube. And the reason I say that is because this is the Social Knockout 2 recap show. And if you follow my Twitter and my Instagram, not only am I going to give you updates regarding upcoming fights, but I might just be responsible for a big fight to happen on Social Knockout 3. More on that later. So yes, make sure you follow my Instagram, Twitter. Again, just type in Fight Lounge and I'm sure you'll find me. So yeah, today was a crazy day. Today Social Knockout 2 happened. And it's funny, my predictions, only did two official predictions. And I had Nial over Tyson, round 2 TKO. That didn't happen. Tyson won via TKO in round 3. And I did have Slim beating Abaddon, but I had to go into the judges. And almost did. So round 3, when Slim delivered a great knockout punch. Okay, so I'm gonna start from the beginning. On Social Knockout 1, I actually overslept. I think I woke up around 3, maybe 4, and all the fights was done. So I had to like go on Twitter and see how people's reaction was, during that time. I had to go back and watch videos. Didn't matter, the first Social Knockout wasn't really all that. This one was much better. Well, up until the last 3 fights, which I would get into. So I woke up. It was the very last round of NA Productions, and I didn't see the first 2 rounds. I saw the very last one, and announcement a winner. So after the event, I went back to watch, and I will say NA Production looked a lot better than the first time he fought Slim. First time he fought Slim, Bryce was too bright, stage was too big, and he wouldn't get Slim, who was very hungry, who was determined to win. So any productions, again, his fight wasn't all that great, but he looked a lot better. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight again on Social Knockouts, put it that way. His performance against Slim, he looked like he didn't want to get punched in the face. But like I said, that's boxing. That's literally what happened. So I wasn't too like I wouldn't pull my hair like, why is this guy on my screen? But trust me, there was fights on this card that made me like, why is this on my screen? But I'll get to that later. So I saw in a production the last round, and they announced him the winner. And so I said, okay, they had that rivalry when the dude slapped him, with a pamper full of shit. The commentator said the dude who any productions fought was from one of the tryouts that Social Knockouts had. And that's something that Social Club once had. Social Club once had a pull-up event. 8 YouTubers, 8 TikTokers, tournament, whoever won got featured on the card. So this was different. This was whoever impressed them. They impressed Tyson. And they think they even said like they didn't necessarily have to win. They just had to like be entertaining. They had to put a fight. They had to have heart, etc., etc. So I didn't watch the any production fight live. But I went back to watch it, and I gotta say, much improvement from the first fight. Much improvement. Okay, and then after that, I think performance by Gibbs. Is it Gibbs or Giggs? I don't know. Sorry, I don't listen to that much London rap. I live in the U.S. So then we had that performance, and then it was time for the fight that made me stay up, or made me wake up early, I should say. Tyson versus Nial. Tyson versus Nial is the reason why woke up early to watch that fight, watch that event, I should say. Slim and Abaddon was would have been a good fight, but I could have watched the replay. I couldn't went past that. I said, you know what, Breadbatch is gonna fight. He's gonna get a guy who, if you look on that card, I think he had the best physique. Like he looked like he was a fighter. So I said, you know what, this fight's gonna be interesting. On the DMs, right when his right before his fight got announced, Niall actually DM'd me and said, "Hey, I'm fighting." And I think because on one of his previous podcasts, I said, "Don't be shocked if you see him fighting on an upcoming, event." But I didn't know it was gonna be Social Knockout 2, so they ain't told me. He didn't show me his opponent, Tyson. And I said, "Yo, that dude's big. That dude's, look like he got power." And he said he was a fighter. So I went on his IG, and I didn't scroll through a lot of posts, but I couldn't see nothing. And his bio says, personal trainer. So I was like, okay, he's a personal trainer, whatever, whatever. So I was like, okay, maybe he fights a little bit because he was on the social knockouts tryout. So he had to fight to get on his card. But unlike Social Gloves had footage and video of everybody fighting. This one, uh, Tyson had like clips on his IG stories, the one that you can save. So I couldn't really see like minute per minute, round per round, how he did in tryouts. I just saw clips of him standing up and his opponent on the ground. So that's all I could take it from. So, in one of the interviews, I think right after the weigh-ins, Niall said that he has been training for this moment since 2018, since KSI versus Logan won. I don't know if he meant to say one or two, because two he was there in person in LA. But I can remember, but either way, he's been playing. So I took that as, you know what? This kid, like I said, has seen so many careers really take off because of YouTube boxing. He's like, why not me? They can do it. Why can I? So I was like, I think this kid's gonna want it more. And so that's why I picked him because I had no footage on either guy. I just said, I think Niall's gonna want it more. However, the fight went totally different than what I expected, but in a good way. It was a great, great fight. The first thing that caught my eye was when Niall was in the ring and he still had on his t-shirt. And I was like, And I think that's kind of strange that he fights with a shirt on. Because, I mean, if you guys watch all the other fights, I think he's the only male who fought with t-shirt on. Of course, the female influencers had shirts. But I said, you know what? He had a shirt on. I got more money for more sponsorship. Wherever, get your money. Maybe, I don't know. That was a red flag. Before the first punch was thrown, that was a red flag. I said maybe he's not in a great shape, conditioning wise. Because we all saw how dead you looked when you fought Benny Hacker, and everybody was like, "Uh-oh, he's out of shape, this or that." Even on the public weigh-in, now had a shirt on. So yeah, that's also another thing I forgot. So maybe his conditioning was 100%. Maybe his physique, wasn't to his liking. I don't know, but I, that was the first red flag. Second one is right when it happened. I think Tyson landed a nice punch, and it kind of like stunned now. And it's the old Mike Tyson quote: "Everybody has a plan. They get punched in the face." And I think that's kind of what happened. In all previous YouTube boxers, after their very first fight, they always go on YouTube and talk about the fight. They always said, as soon as that bell rings, you forget everything that you was taught. And so I think for now, and again, I don't want to speculate, but I think that's what happened. I think he got punched very hard in the face, shit got real, and that's like every other YouTuber or even TikToker. When the bell rings, when shit got real, they forgot. I really wouldn't doubt that if he just forgot everything because that's what I always say. It's a bit of difference between the dim lights, sparring in the gym in front of your other sparring partners, and fighting under bright lights in front of 1,000 people in attendance and 1,000 people around the world. Much different kind of pressure. So I think that's what happened. My first reaction, I was like, "Yo, Tyson was like the more powerful and more strong fighter. Like he was hurting now every chance he got. I was like, yo, and the more the fight went, the more comfortable he got. I was like, yo, like the way I took it from the whole fight is like there was a two different speed. I mean, I know it was a different level. Like they said Tyson is a fighter, but they didn't really say he had amateur background, MMA, uh, excuse me, Muay Thai. They say he's a fighter, but you can tell he was above now, but just different speed, different, excuse me, different awareness. It's a better all-around fighter. In football or basketball, there's a friend like you play down to your opponent if you're like undefeated and the person your person you're playing is like 2-16, they're gonna put your A effort. So that's why they play down to the opponent. For Tyson, gotta give him credit. He knew he was better than Niall, but he did not toy with him. I think in round one they said he was toying with him, but I think he was still trying to like read him out, whatever. But gotta give him credit. Like Tyson, and again, I went back and watched the second fight, and Tyson was not in any danger at all. There was times when Niall clipped him, but there was nothing, no power behind those punches at all. So Tyson, and I even said on IG story, I said it's now gonna be the next big influencer boxer, or is Tyson stock going to rise? And Tyson stock rose. He's on. Put it this way, a lot of people watched that fight because the Breadbatch guy was on there, and everybody knows who Tyson is because he beat up and stopped the Breadbatch guy. And it's one person in particular who was in attendance live who caught Tyson's eye. But before I go to who potentially could be fighting Tyson, let's talk about the fight. Like I said, initially, for now, he just wanted one big punch. He wanted to gain Tyson's respect, but as you can see, Tyson had his hand down. He was just running. Like Tyson just knew he was better than him, and this is what after I watched the fight the second time, it was clear Tyson knew. It was like after clearly after round one, but probably after a minute into round one, he's like, "Oh, I'm better than this kid." He was landing when he wanted to, and when he was landing, it hurt. That's one thing I always, I said as well. Tyson's a big, strong dude. That doesn't mean nothing if he can't fight. If he can't land that big, right hand on the power, it doesn't mean nothing. But he was 100% landing the power shot. He dropped now twice. I believe once in round two. Yeah, once in round two and the last round three. Now, if you guys will go back and watch that fight, I think the last punch was the back of the head. I think the first knockdown was right behind the ear, which is legal, but I think the second one was right behind the head. Which, if you watched that fight, you knew now, you were just hoping and wishing now made it to the end of the round, in round three. But again, you gotta give him credit, and Tyson gave him credit. He kept pushing forward. He kept being the aggressor. He never excuse me, he never backpedaled. Even though he probably at points should have. He never cover up, never ran away. So now has heart. He has heart. He has fight. And he also gained fans. He gave fans with a lot of people. A lot of people gave him his respect. I gave him respect. After round two, I think even he knew, like, damn, I ain't winning. But he didn't quit. He didn't take the easy way out. He didn't take a knee, to gain like 15 more seconds of breathing air. No, he took the fight. Even after the second knockout, right, while the ref was counting, he made a 10 count. He got right back up, and the referee said, "Nah, he took enough damage." So he still won the fight. So you have to give him credit. So uh, now I will give you credit, man. You have heart, you have fight, which is what we all want. In YouTube or influencer boxing, that's all we want. We want a good fight, a good scrap, a good build up, and a great fight. And that's what we got. What's so crazy for now is his Instagram. the Breadbatch actually got banned. So his IG page with almost 300K followers couldn't even use it to promote the fight. So I wanted to ask him if like that added any extra uh, stress. I'm gonna do that after this is over. I tell him like, yo, I'll talk about your fight. I'm gonna ask him like, yo, did that, you know, do anything to distract you or to have you stressed out, have you? You know, like that. That's literally no pun intended. Breadbatch is his bread and butter. That's the reason why he was on that card because the Breadbatch. That's the reason why he has so much connection is because of Breadbatch. And he, like I said, if you went on there, right on my last IG, my last podcast episode, I went on his IG to see how many followers. I was like, and he's been doing this, I believe, before KSI and Joe Weddle was even officially announced. So that's what, 2017? 2017 or at least 2018. So it just sucks to have that much years and hours and work put into this brand and boom, it got banned. I don't know if it was hacked. I don't know what happened. That still isn't 100%, confirmed yet. But it just sucks, man. And again, this was supposed to be a great week for him, you know. But I don't know, like someone on Twitter said, he lost the Breadbatch page and he lost a fight the same week, which is ugh. This is gonna be a memorable week for him, but in a bad way. But you know what? The only thing to do is to bounce back. He has the new Breadbatch backup page. I believe that's at 30K, which hey, 30,000 followers in less than 7 days ain't bad, but ain't 300K either. And like it was history on that page. So that was now. Now let's talk about Tyson. Tyson, his stock went up. He looked comfortable. He was never in danger. He really didn't respect Niall's power. He was composed and calm. That was the most telling thing about the fight. I was like, oh yeah, he had this fight in his bag, and that's exactly what happened. He wanted to drop him, he dropped him. When he wanted to counter him, he countered him. So he didn't call out anybody because he doesn't know anything about the influence or the YouTube box community, the YouTube scene, etc., etc. Now Tyson follows me and JMX follows me, and JMX was actually at the show, and he said, you want to support Breadbatch, you want to see how Slim looked. So I asked JMX, I said, yo, will you fight Tyson? At Social Knockout. And he said he would. Sent that info to Tyson, and he said that he would fight JMX. So potentially, the next fight, Social Knockout 3, could have the returning JMX versus the emerging Tyson. So JMX versus Tyson could be a fight that happen on the next Social Knockout event. Will be Social Knockout 3. I think that would be huge. JMX needs a fight. The last time he fought, his last boxing fight was 2018 against Coach Richard. His last fight period was in MMA on Fame, yeah, Fame MMA UK. That was 2019, December 2019. So it's 2021. So it's about to be, yeah, well, like 2 years. Yeah, it's 3 years since his last boxing fight. If it goes in 2022, be 4 years and 3 years till his last fight period. So this would be a good look for JMX. I think he needs a warm up fight before he goes back into the YouTube boxing scene 100%. And Tyson, he needs to capitalize on this. Like it's like everyone knows who Breadbatch is, and now everyone knows that he's the guy who beat up Breadbatch. And he was damn good doing it. Like, I'll be honest, like that's why I instantly said, let's see if he fights JMX. JMX can fight, Tyson can fight, boom. Of course, JMX is taller, so he will have the height advantage, the reach advantage, and the weight. I think when the zone was had JMX on the panel for the Give versus Jake. I think they had uh, Logan Paul and JMX next to each other, and like Logan was taller. I mean, excuse me, JMX was taller. I don't know weight wise, but I'll say he's like 200 pounds. So JMX would be taller, bigger, and stronger than Tyson. But is Tyson more experienced? Well, also from this one, Tyson looked more experienced. I don't know how many fights he's had. I guarantee you that wasn't his only fight that he had against TheBreadbatch. He either had some previous uh, Muay Thai, kickboxing, amateur boxing. He looked too composed in that ring for that to be his first ever fight. He just did. He had too much confidence. He knew when a punch was going to land hard. And that's why I think him versus JMX will be good. He's friend with Breadbatch, so he could quote unquote avenge Breadbatch and avenge that loss for him. And so JMX needs it. He had X Academy, and then something fishy went on, I guess, with Save the Tokens and KSI of all people called out JMX because he sold some of his X Academy tokens, and then JMX left X Academy. X Academy is a program that JMX was co-founded. He put I think I read the article like $500,000. Well, him and the partner put $500,000. Either way, he put money into that. That was a big reason why he wasn't uploading on YouTube or he wasn't fighting because he was trying to get X Academy off the ground. And since he had leave, and since he really hasn't been active on YouTube, he needs to go back into fighting. And the reason being because he's still young. Same thing for now. Now I should say. He's still young. It was a great learning experience. He learned how tough he was. I learned how tough he was. He even learned that there's levels to this fight game. There just is. He's gonna be a much better fighter if he do come back, which I hope he does. But JMX, he's in my top five. YouTube boxer, and he's kind of moving down the ranking just because he's inactive. And there's so many new people. But if he fights Tyson, who's a good fighter, I mean that'd be good. And it works for both people. JMX has nothing going on, and when I say it, I ain't trying to say disrespectful. He's not uploading on YouTube. He doesn't have X Academy anymore, so he needs to fall back on fighting. He's good. He has 1 win in MMA. He has 2 wins in amateur boxing. And do hopefully it's more than 3 rounds. Man, it's one thing social knockouts have to do. Some fights can be 3 rounds, kind of like Tyson versus Nial, the female influence fight. I can understand with that one. Some fights need to be 4 rounds. Tyson versus JMX needs to be 6 rounds. To be honest with you, but that definitely needs to be more than 3 rounds. So I talked about the fight. I talked about how both fighters looked. So I talked about what's next for Tyson. I really hope Tyson versus JMX happen. So JMX isn't doing nothing. JMX can help bring over that UK audience. I know Social Knockout want to get bigger and bigger, and I respect them for that because I think they're going to lose Slim. I think his contract just ran out. Having JMX, even just for a one fight, would not be a bad look at all. So let's talk about Niall. What does he do? Does he go back to Breadbatch? Because that's the thing. Breadbatch isn't there no more. The original one. Breadbatch won. So now he's using the backup. Does he, this is something else if he's listened to. Like, does he even have the passion? So when you put, 3, 4 years and thousands of hours into something and it's gone and it blinked, do you still have the passion? And I'm sure he made money today. So like he made money. So he was like, well, put it this way. He wasn't able to sell Breadbatch and make money off of it, but he still made money off of Breadbatch this weekend, if that makes sense. So it wasn't a complete waste, and the reason why he's in the position he is because of it. But seriously, does he go back into Breadbatch backup? What's crazy is, for a while he wasn't even running Breadbatch. He wasn't because he was training, obviously. And I wonder if the person who was running it is the reason why it got hacked. I really do. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's a big, fuck up. But I will say that he had a really good fight. He had a great heart. I 100% want to see him fight again. So this thing, if he goes strictly back to posting on Breadbatch, that's fine. But I think I want to see him fight again. Like people mention any productions. I can see that. Any production isn't that good, but he's much better than his performance against Slim. I said on the prediction episode, um, Tanner Fox versus Brett Batch. When Tanner Fox fight got called out, or got called off, he called out Brett Batch now, and that's when he was going off on everybody, and that was one of them. And I was like, why are they calling out Brett Batch? But he was just like everybody was an enemy. Maybe they get Tanner Fox versus Brett Batch. Who knows? Um, I don't even know what his weight is. I know the weight won't be there, but still be some history. Put it that way, it might be a little bit still some history. Also, what do you guys think? You guys think he should go back to Brett Batch permanently? Should he fight again? If you do, who? People say any productions. I could see that. I do want to see him go against another like media guy. Like I said, you know, Adam 22 for No Jumper, DJ Academics. Highly doubt that happens now since the Heat lost. I highly doubt that. Okay, now let's move into the second fight that I was looking forward to the most. I think after the Tyson fight, they had I guess two coaches, two personal trainers. Nothing against them, I didn't watch that fight. But then it was Slim versus Abaddon. And I said on the prediction show, this is gonna be Slim's toughest opponent. It's gonna be the first time Slim faces an opponent who's gonna punch Slim in the face. And production couldn't do it. Respect to Fuzi, he couldn't do it. And this was a good fight. This was really a good fight. And I said, and you can even say Abaddon probably stole round two. And it was just a good fight because Abaddon, and this was a fight that Slim needed. Because Fuzi had no defense, he had negative. In productions was only good for 34 seconds. He couldn't learn nothing. That's one thing what I like about social knockouts is Slim's getting experience, he's getting rounds under his belt. More importantly, he needed a round like this. I mean, he needed a fight like this. Slim had to dig deep to win this fight. He could, like I said, Abaddon, I don't know. Usually in boxing, win, lose, or draw, we still see who the judges gave each round to. I don't know what the judges, you know, was giving rounds to, but like, yeah, if Slim didn't knock out Abaddon, there's a good chance he lost that fight. So Slim had to dig deep and win that fight. Like, I have to win. Especially of all places, that places, social knockout. Like those judges is off the wall. The scoring system is sketchy to say the least. So Slim like, nah, I got knocked this dude out. I predicted that Abaddon was gonna be a crowd favorite, and he was. Slim was getting booed at the beginning when he was doing the introduction. Okay, let's talk about the fight. Round one, Slim drops Abaddon, and his confidence is all time high, but he was dancing a lot. He was taunting a lot. And round two, they came back to hurt him. In round two, Slim was exhausted, Slim was gassed, and he was tired, and he was getting tagged. On the prediction show, I said Abaddon, I forgot his opponent's name, he would counter his opponent, he would be calm, and like he'd be punched, but he'd be like, okay, so what? Some people, when they get punched in the face, they panic. Abaddon did not panic at all. Watch that fight. He took the fight to Slim. And I hope Abaddon comes back. I really do. Hell, Abaddon versus Nial from Bad Batch. That'd be a banger of a fight. But round three, Slim had to dig deep and like get rid of this dude. Cause I said it was a chance he could have won that. He could have lost that fight. Went to the judges. Real good chance. So as I always say, people who hate Jake Paul won't give him any credit, and people who hate Slim won't give him any credit. I really truly believe this was a hell of a performance for Slim. Even the haters have to give him some credit. Have to. If they don't, that's why they're haters. Okay, I actually went back and rewatched the Slim versus Abaddon fight because I want to make sure what rounds people was dropped and whatever. Slim dropped Abaddon round one. The commentators try to say it was a slip, but it was legit knockdown. In that round, Abaddon was tagging Slim, and he caught him with some good shots. Round two happened. Slim took over. They said the round was close. I don't really believe that. I do think Slim was gassing. Again, he was in a tough fight. I think this was his first real fight, Fusi fight. He went against a guy who was much bigger and tougher, but he had no defense. And couldn't land a punch on Slim in productions. We saw what happened with that one. But this was his real first one. Abaddon was game. He, like I said in the uh prediction, he literally gave a fight to Slim. Slim had to dig deep in third round to knock him out. So shout out to Slim. I don't want the Hitman nickname. I like Slim Slim. You guys want to call him Hitman? I mean, hey, he's eliminating people who's in front of him, so I guess it's stick. But Slim Slim, man, that's a lot like that nickname better. So what is next for Slim and Abaddon? At the end, they asked Slim, "Hey, who do you want to call out?" And Slim said, "I got some opportunities on the table." I think he said he's gonna fight one more time for social knockouts, but he called out Face Temper, and hopefully that means Face Clan versus the World Boxing event is happening. I really hope it is. But we will see. I think there was reports. People told me that Slim only had a two-fight deal with Social Knockout, so that deal's over with unless they give him a new contract. Never against Social Knockout, but I hope Face Clan have their own boxing event. It could be 10 times bigger. It could be just like how Social Gloves was, except promising, 15 people, seven and six-figure deals. Truthfully, they could have, if it's the Face Clan members, they can have seven-figure deals, just with the sponsorships, easy. Um, but yeah, none disrespect to Social Knockout, but no, that fight has to, Slim versus Face Temper has to be on the Face Clan event. So that's what's next for Slim. Hey, he and Jake Paul, the only YouTubers with multiple TKO KO victories. Shake has four, and now Slim has three. Okay, and so I'm going to talk about Abaddon. What I think he should do next. Like I said, he was game, man. He had fight in him. Maybe him versus Nial. That could possibly happen. Um, Abaddon versus Tyson, maybe. I know Tyson won, but if they can't get JMX, eh, throw that on. Let that be, another warm-up match for Tyson. But again, I would not mind seeing Abaddon fight again. Do have fight in him. And again, a learn experience, man. That's the one thing about Knockout is they're using the same core people, so they know when it's a draw, they're gonna have a chance to fight again. Versus as we know, how many YouTubers have lost and took them years to get another fight. So it's not gonna make Breadbatch better. Gonna make Abaddon. JMX was also on Twitter and he called out Slim. He said, "If you want to have a proper fight, Slim, fight me." But Slim and JMX aren't even in the same weight class. Like JMX is a legit heavyweight, and Slim is like in the 170s. He might be like 171, 172. So that fight doesn't really count. Tyson fought at 170, but he could easily be 180, 190. That wouldn't be a problem. So Slim versus JMX, I really truly don't see it happening. JMX versus Tyson. Hopefully that's the next fight. But for Slim, I really hope he fights Face Temper at the Face Clan versus the World Boxing event. I really hope that happens. And if by some chance he fights one more time at Social Knockouts before actually fighting Face Temper, I don't know what he'll do because like he and Tyson are in the same weight class, but you can tell much different. Tyson's all muscle, Slim is all arms. Um, but yeah, but again, that was a great fight. Tyson versus Nial and Slim versus Abaddon, best fights I saw. Yeah, I didn't see the trainers fight each other. I didn't see the first guys. I didn't even see the Muay Thai fighter who Slim was originally supposed to fight. So maybe that's who Slim fights next. Maybe he fights the Muay Thai fighter he was supposed to originally fight. I don't know. Um, but I will say credit to Slim. Hopefully people will give Slim credit. You can't say Abaddon was a punch bag. You cannot say that. You can say that was the first real fight Slim has had, because it's true. It has been. But we'll see, man. And that would do it for part one of the Social Knockout 2 recap show. Man, the first half of Social Knockout 2 was great. But the last three fights, that god awful female fight, I knew it was gonna be bad, but good lord, it was dreadful. Adam versus Anus in the Rig Money Kiss fight. Oh, don't worry. I guess I could have enough energy tomorrow. I'm in good mood, so on top of the fights that really excite me. But tomorrow, I gotta talk about the three shit fights, man. But again, that's tomorrow. So what I want to tell you guys is, thanks for the support on the podcast. Listen, I'm trying to get a schedule where I do at least one episode per week. This week was a lot to talk about because, you know, a fight week and then a preview show, prediction show, and now a recap show. So yeah. And once again, follow me on Twitter and IG and YouTube for Fight Lounge. And I promise you the next update for Social Knockout 3 I will have. Or even Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. We're still waiting on that to, you know, be officially announced. So I'll keep you guys updated. So yeah, that would do it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.